I've just brought a Gozney Arc XL, so in this week's video we're going to unbox it, set it up, and then cook some pizza on it. So if you've seen any of my other pizza oven videos, you'll know I've been cooking on a rock box. These are great ovens, but I could do with more cooking space, so I've upgraded to the Arc XL. So this oven can fit a 16-inch pizza in. It does mean it's a bit heavier than the rock box, so it's not as portable. So when you open the box up, there's the instructions on the top, and there's a big bit of styrofoam to protect the oven. I'll be honest, this thing was pretty awkward to get out of the box on my own, so I had to put the box on the floor and then lift the oven out. If you're not planning to keep the box, it'll probably be easier just to cut it open. So there's some packaging inside the oven, and that contains all the stuff that comes with it. Those blue things are the stone retention wedges, and you have to make sure to take them out before you fire it up. So in this box there's the flue outlet, a burner guard, the gas hose and regulator, a stone adjustment tool, and a battery for the igniter. The flue outlet just sits in the hole at the front of the oven, and the burner guard sits on a lip in front of the burner. Next I'm going to remove the digital thermometer and unplug it from the oven. Next you'll need to use the provided Torx screwdriver to open up the back and remove the plastic tab inside. Then it's just a case of screwing the back on and then plugging the thermometer back into the oven. Don't forget to take the plastic film off the screen as well. You could put the battery into the igniter at this point as well, but I hadn't read that far into the instructions, so I'm going to do it a bit later on. To turn the thermometer on, you press and hold the power button, and then you can use the top button to switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. You do have to press and hold the temperature button in as well to switch between the two measurements. So I also brought the Arc booster stand to sit the oven on so it sits the right height on my workbench. You'll definitely need two people for this because you have to position the feet in the right place. Then to attach the oven you just screw it in underneath. Then to attach the gas hose you just clip it in at the back of the oven with the quick release. So I use a 19 kilo propane bottle, so I did have to swap the regulator out for the one that I was using with my rock box. So the last thing to do was put the battery into the igniter. To do this you just unscrew the cap, pop the battery in, and then put the cap back on. To be honest, I was a bit confused with igniting the oven, but you basically just push it in, turn it to the 9 o'clock position, and then wait for it to light. Then you're meant to turn the knob down to the 7 o'clock position, push it in, and then release. So when you light your oven for the first time, you need to run it on low flame for 30 minutes to cure the stone. This just takes any moisture out of the stone and prevents it from cracking. So whilst the oven's doing that, we're going to unbox the peels. You do need to buy these separately, and Gozney do sell a few different types. I went with the Pro Placement Peel and the Balanced Turning Peel. And when it comes to unboxing and setting up the Gozney Arc XL, that's all there is to it. So now I'm going to let the oven finish curing, make a batch of dough, and come back a couple of days later to make some pizza. You can use the oven straight away, but I'm making a 2-day pizza dough which needs to ferment in the fridge. So it's 2 days later and we're back. So first I'm going to light the oven up and let it preheat to around 430 degrees Celsius or 800 degrees Fahrenheit. This took around 45 minutes and I had the flame running on high to bring it up to temperature, and then I turned it down slightly to fully saturate the stone with heat. So I believe the oven's thermometer takes the temperature below the stone. So I'm using an infrared laser thermometer just to double check the stone's temperature. Anyway, now it's time to make a pizza. To be honest, my first pizza wasn't great, but I'll show you it anyway, and then I'll show you how I improved the next one. So this is a new pizza dough recipe that I'm working on, and it's a 2-day dough, which means it just ferments in the fridge over 48 hours. So I'm going to open it up using the steering wheel method, which is where you press the dough to the edges to make a crust, and then pick it up and turn it in your hands like a steering wheel. Then the dough is going to get a light topping of tomato. Followed by some freshly grated parmesan. We're making a margherita, by the way. On top of the cheese, I'm going to add some torn basil leaves. And I'm going to top the pizza with some low moisture mozzarella, which I've cut into rough 1 cm pieces. I'm going to finish it with a drizzle of olive oil. Then I'm going to use the placement peel to pick the pizza up. So I got the larger placement peel, which will fit a 14-inch pizza, but I'm going to make this pizza around 12 inches. What I'm doing here is stretching the pizza out to size, and I'm going to redistribute the toppings and add more on if needed. With a classic margherita, you don't want to go too heavy with the toppings. Now we're back to the oven. I've turned the flame down to medium-low, and then I'm going to pop the pizza in. I didn't notice at the time, but the flame guard had slipped down the edge slightly, so I had to readjust that once the oven was cool. So for this first pizza, I was using the turning peel to give the pizza its first turn, which I was finding quite difficult. I found it easier when I cooked the next pizza to use the placement peel to give the pizza its first turn, and then swap over to the turning peel for the other turns. I also think I need to get the stone a bit hotter, which is why I was finding turning the pizza a bit difficult. To be fair, this pizza did taste good though, and it was cooked properly. It was just a bit burnt on the edges. You'll see when I pick the pizza up there's a bit of burning on the stone. I think that's where I used too much semolina, so I'll use less next time. It wasn't a bad first attempt, but we're going to make another one and make it even better. I almost forgot to get rid of the excess semolina. Anyway, to keep things simple, we're going to stick with the same toppings as before. So tomato sauce, fresh basil leaves, cheese and a drizzle of olive oil. We're going to make a 12-inch pizza again, so we're going to pop it onto the peel and then stretch it out by hand. I did drizzle the olive oil on top after stretching it out just to make it more even. So this time I've let the stone saturate with heat for a bit longer, and I've turned the flame down ever so slightly. So after about 30 seconds, the crust has started to puff up and colour slightly, so I use the placement peel to bring it out of the oven and turn it 180 degrees. So once the crust had risen nicely, I'm going to turn the flame up to around medium and then use the turning peel to turn the pizza regularly so that it doesn't burn. Because this oven has so much more cooking space than the rock box, it's actually a lot easier to turn it and keep an eye on it. So here I'm just going to lift the pizza up to see if the bottom's cooked properly. Then I will lift the pizza up close to the flame to give the cheese a nice amount of colour. In total this one took about 90 seconds to cook, and I didn't burn it. So if you look underneath the pizza, you can see it's nicely cooked, which is because we let the stone heat up a bit more before cooking. Then it's just a case of cutting the pizza up and eating it. I'm using scissors just so we can see what the crumb looks like inside the crust. I think it's looking pretty good, so if you keep an eye on my channel, the full recipe will be out soon. The proof's in what it tastes like though, and the 2-day cold fermentation really does make a difference. Anyway, thanks for watching. I know it's a bit of a different style of video than usual. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week for a new recipe.